Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Oops. Hey, welcome to the first Tuesday where we are not doing the R&R show in a long time. And you're wondering, what? Where's my R&R? Where's Ruel? In case you missed last week's episode, folks, we announced that we were going from a weekly to a monthly schedule for the R&R for reasons that I talked about at great length in last week's episode. Went into the personal reasons and the professional reasons for this shift. I do plan on trying to make sure there's something live on the channel every Tuesday going forward, but it's going to be alternating between the R&R show and like today where we're going to be filming the podcast, and next week where we're going to be doing the monthly roundup, and occasional other things like maybe bonus R&R episodes, because you'll notice I changed everything up there. Look at that. It no longer says specific things. Instead, when we hit these various marks, we will unlock videos. And what are those videos? Well, they could be run-throughs like in the past, they could be RVRs like in the past, or they could be bonus R&R shows instead of RVR shows or what have you. So, keeping the door open, but again, went into great detail about why making the change. And thank you for everybody for the kind well wishes for my mom. I'm not really going to be talking about that because this is me getting to take a break from all of that for a little bit. So thank you for all the well wishes you're sending our way. But we're just here to have fun talking about games today and none of the heavy topics that we are dealing with in our lives right now. So let's see here. Let's just stop for a second and say hello to everybody. Hey, AG Fox and Kabuki and Exacting Vampire. Yes, Kabuki, I know you're lamenting the lessening of the R&R schedule. I appreciate that. But it's not all bad, because today, actually, you could call it the inaugural episode of the RtR show, the Rahdo then Ruel, because I'm going to be doing this for a couple of hours, and then afterwards, Ruel is going to get on, and he is going to do a live playthrough of Canopy, which looks stunningly gorgeous with Vincent Dutray art, and I've heard very, very good things. So, instead of R&R, it's RtR, Rahdo then Ruel, and that might be the standard moving forward, that every Tuesday I'll do something at noon and then Ruel will schedule something afterwards. We haven't figured that out exactly yet. It literally just occurred to us this morning to do it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, open up your schedule for all afternoon, folks, because after I'm done, you'll definitely want to stick around, at least to look at how gorgeous Canopy is and check in on how Ruel is doing. Green Meeple Washington, hello, first timer, nice to meet you. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing fine in the chat. I am doing okay. Got some questions to go through because what we'll be doing today is, first, I will be unboxing one or more of these, and you're going to pick which one. You're going to vote about that pretty soon. Awesome! Thank you for the sub. That means we're getting closer to unlocking something. And again, when these things get unlocked, I think my intention is when we hit any of these, the audience, to celebrate the fact that one of them got unlocked, the audience at that time will decide what it will be. And if it's going to be an R&R, then hey, we'll have a bonus R&R. It's possible if these unlock on a fairly regular basis, hey, maybe we will still be weekly after all if you keep wanting R&Rs. But anyway, thank you, Green Meeple. For the sub with Prime, which meant it was free for you and it's helping keeping the show going. Let's see here. What else have we got going on? Gizmo Burr, hello, Brenner, and Feldfan, and Goblin. Oh, Goblin, I see you're rocking an avatar today. I hope you enjoy it. We'll definitely have a battle, and perhaps you will emerge triumphant later on. Let's see here. Fem Sensei is hugging everybody in sight. That is fantastic. Fem Sensei, I hope you appreciate. I tried to soften the error message on that a little bit, so it's not constantly telling you must have a valid target for a hug. I can reword it again though. I don't know. Maybe I should make it a little bit more silly and fun. But anyway, Flashburn COVID. Oh man, I am sorry to hear that. I hope it didn't hit you too terribly hard. I hope you're getting over it, like the champ that you are. And okay, here we are caught up with the no audio because I caught it myself very quickly that time, so that was good. And oh yeah, and people are looking at all this stuff. Okay, folks, here's the deal. Before I get to the actual main event, which is recording the podcast, I want to give folks a chance to show up. So we're going to spend a little bit of time unboxing. I have got the latest from AEG Wormholes. Why am I excited about this? Designer Peter McPherson, his next design after Tiny Towns. I've also got a new Tiny Towns promo, wee. But what's in here? I don't know. I have not even bothered to look at this. What's right next to it? Dead Reckoning. I could unbox this for you right now, if this is what you folks vote for. I don't know if you will, though, because I am way, way late to the party on Dead Reckoning. People were unboxing that back in March. There's very good jobs. What? Did I hear the whistle? Is the hype train rolling into town? Yes, it is. Hey, everybody. Thanks for the support. Eclectic Camel, thank you for the bits. And Keith Collins handing out subs like candy. Keith Collins? Hey, man. How are you? Oh, my gosh. Wow. That's the old folks home showing up today. And then Green Meeple and Keith also subscribed. Thanks, Keith. Let's see. Oh, and Dragons also, thank you for subscribing. I need to be paying more attention. And let's see, and then we get back to last week, Little Brutta and Gadam Gray and Happy is here and Mom Gamer all subs. Hey, all right, so the hype train has pulled into town. Once the hype train leaves, you folks will have unlocked unique emotes that you can use for this stream and this stream only. And you'll also, if you're donating stuff, you'll actually grab a car in the little train right down there as it sticks around for a little bit. That's very nice. Thank you very much for the support. I really appreciate it. Brenner asks, how am I holding up? As well as could be expected. But like I said right up front, I really don't want to dwell on the stuff that we talked about last week. I just want to have some fun playing some games. So anyway, so Dead Reckoning. I could unbox this, but why unbox that when I could unbox Helsinki? This is, there is no information about it. This is the next game from Queen Games and designer Oscar Granerud and Danielle Peterson, great design duo. And this has a very fresh take on polyomino Tetris style tiling. The deluxe 20th anniversary edition of Almond Ray, full to the brim of Vincent Dutray art. If I unbox this, it's going to be the prettiest thing of all this. Leviathan Wilds, if you've ever wanted to play Shadows of Colossus, a classic old PlayStation game in board game form, oh my gosh. Now, Jen and I, we've already played Leviathan Wilds in Helsinki. Warning, these are all prototypes. They had no shrink wrap. I've already opened them. I've played these two. So if you pick these in the vote, I'll be able to tell you a lot about the gameplay too. This awesome co-op, this awesome new take on Tetris polyomino tiling. I've never played Almond Ray. The reason I'm so excited about covering this is, for the first time ever, Almond Ray supports 2 players with one of the expansions that has been developed for the 20th anniversary edition, which I believe were in part, I think Seth Jaffe was a contributor to this, if I recall correctly, plus some other folks. Okay, but hey, if you pick Dead Reckoning, there's lots of piratey stuff in here. And honestly, I have no idea what's in Wormholes. So let me bring up the poll thing. New poll. What to unbox? Okay, we have got Helsinki. We have got Almond Ray Anniversary. Sari. We've got Leviathan Wilds. We've got Dead Reckoning. And we've got, or I can spell, Dead Rec Awning. And then finally, Wormholes. Okay. And let's see. So, you got 2 minutes, folks, to pick. And depending on which ones you pick, I might be able to get a couple of these open. That's something to think about when you are deciding also. If you pick Dead Reckoning, that's a big box. There's a lot of stuff in there. I might only have time for it. Whereas if you pick, Leviathan Wilds, Helsinki, Wormholes, these are all smaller. Almond Ray, we're just going to be looking at how gorgeous the Vincent Dutray art, and for the first time ever, miniatures based on Vincent Dutray art. It's got some very nice miniatures in that box also. So, right. How's it going so far? Helsinki takes the immediate lead. That is surprising to me. Now, I should say Helsinki is probably the least gorgeous looking of them. It's a pretty utility. I mean, it's a Queen game. It looks like other Queen games in that it looks nice and workmanlike, colorful, but not too terribly fancy. But yeah, again, if you want to know more about the puzzle, a really new take on puzzle laying that Jen and I were both just like instantly smitten with when we started playing, or if you want to see all the vintage tray art of the new Amon-Ra anniversary, if you want to see one of the most thematic co-ops, then you want Leviathan Wilds, Dead Reckoning, a very well-known... Here's the thing about Dead Reckoning I can't really talk about today. The reason I'm so late is AEG didn't send me a copy because they figured I'm not interested because it's a PvP, pirates fighting other pirates game. But it has solo and co-op play. There were bonuses for hitting stretch goals in the Kickstarter. And I'm like, I very much want to try that. So I expect I'll probably be playing Dead Reckoning in July. I expect it'll get a lot of votes because I don't think either the solo or the co-op game has really gotten much coverage yet. And then Wormholes again, Mr. Tiny Towns. I don't think it'll be a particularly fancy thing, but we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, and while that voting is going on, I've been hearing some stuff in my head. Oh my God, you made it to level 2! And bye-bye, train. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your remotes. And let's see here. Anonymous cheerer. Oh, I didn't realize you could cheer anonymously. Thank you for the mysterious anonymous bits. And, we got another temporary avatar with Flying Dutch Rocker. Hopefully it'll come down to two total newbies in the Battle Royale today. And Eclectic Camel, thank you for the bits. Keith Collins handing out... So we're all caught up with the thank yous. Wow! That was not what I was expecting at all. Okay, Helsinki comes in number 1, Wormholes number 2, Leviathan Wilds number 3. Okay, Dead Reckoning, bye-bye. I honestly, I figured for sure you were going to... So maybe I was trying to downsell it a lot, but, did I mention it's the deluxe version with metal coins and whatnot? But hey, if you want to see an opening of that, go check out Alex's unboxing on Board Game Co. He did a very epic, 50-minute long unboxing. He actually built the boat on screen, so that's pretty impressive. Okay, so we're definitely going to open Helsinki. And then, depending on how long that takes, we'll move on to Wormholes. And then, depending on how long that takes, we'll go there. So, bye-bye, Amon-Ra, and prototype box full of miniatures. You'll see this when I run through it, folks. The run-through, or the preview, will be coming soon. Okay, let's see here. Helsinki. Let me get to the overhead view. I am so surprised that it worked out that way. Okay, so, bright, colorful... Oscar and Daniel, they've done a lot of really great designs. I think my favorite of all of them is Avenue, one of the greatest roll and rides of all time. But I mean, these two, they produce great stuff. If I could get this box open, there we go. Alrighty, very standard Queen looking rule book. Pretty straightforward, really short. And so, here is the way this game works, folks. Everybody has, and by the way, there's no solo mode. I'm really kind of bummed by that. This game could rock a solo mode, but I don't think that's really a big thing for Queen. They really don't tend to do it. But let's pretend there's a solo mode. There's my square, in the Helsinki square I'm building. Here is this common board that we are drafting cards from. And then, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess, is it a 4-player game? Looks like, or at least my prototype is. Yeah. And then we've got these action boards over here. So this is the setup of the game. And what we do is, let me get the rest of this stuff. Tons of polyomino tiles in different shapes and colors. I'm not going to get them all out. I'll just get a couple. If I recall correctly, I think there's 5 colors. Blue and green and red and purple and yellow. And actually looking at it now, I don't see, folks, any kind of blue-red or green-red differentiation. That might be an issue. Folks might want to mention that because I'm pretty sure this game is going to Kickstarter. But anyway, different color pieces. You get them all out. You put them in stacks as part of setup. And everybody has... This is a rondelle. Everybody has their worker on the rondelle. They've got their points. And they've got all these little shields. Let me just go ahead and set my board up. An unboxing and mini run-through of sorts. And boy, I just do not understand why. Again, my prototype, I should say, did not come with any solo rules, because this would be a very solo game. So anyway, I'm the green player. I'm starting there. And then we've got the box full of cards. A certain number of these come out, depending on player count. I'll just say, these many came out. I don't remember. The rest are shuffled up. And these, as you can see, are polyomino shapes. So we have them all scattered around the board. Bippity, bippity, flippity, and then there's a draw pile. And then I think everybody, if I recall correctly, starts with 2 in hand. So on your turn, what you're going to do in this game, oh, that's a little crooked. Let's go ahead and straighten that out. What you're going to do in this game is, first, this is a rondelle. You can move 1, 2, or 3 spaces, although there are powers to let you move further. Let's say I moved 1, 2. Then you grab the cards that were there, and new ones come out for another player. Or I should say, you have a choice. After you move, you can grab cards and you can see, oh, look, I'm starting to get a set of blues. Or instead of grabbing cards, you can spend your cards to build. And so let's say on a future turn, I move 1, 2, 3, but I don't grab the cards off the board. Instead, I say I'm going to build. I say I'm going to build a blue pavilion in the square. Oh, and by the way, this is supposed to be here. So what happens is, if I want to, I could build a size 3 blue pavilion because I've got 3 blue cards. This purple one isn't going to help me. Or I could, since this is a size 1, a card by itself. You basically spend the number. Now, if I wanted to build this one, the really big one, I would need 5 blue cards, including this. So I can't build that. So I could, this turn, either build a size 3 blue or a size 1 purple. Let's say I'm going to build the size 3 blue. Here it is. I discard those cards. I grab it. And now this is the fun part, folks. Tetris style, this has to slide in off the board and keep sliding until it hits something. But the direction it slides matches this board over here. Because my marker is over on the east side, I have to slide in from the east. If I were over here, I'd have to slide in from the west. And down here, I'd have to slide in from the south. And so often you're in a position where you're, okay, I want to build this piece, but my guy is on the wrong side. I have to slide in on the wrong side. But anyway, you slide in, and you could rotate it however you want, and it slides until it hits something, including this bandstand or this gazebo at the beginning. And now it's there, and I'm starting to fill up the board. In a future turn, if I were to, and then say later on, I go 1, 2, 3, and hey, I get this purple. Now I could slide in, but it has to slide in from this side. I could slide in like this, and what I might have, if I'd been thinking ahead, knowing that I wanted to build this next, I would have slid this in like this, then gone around the corner, and then slid this in from this side, going in the west, boom, like that. So I hit this, and I unlock one of my little royal seals. The more of these you collect, you can use them to instantly, whenever you want, do all of these special powers. Move further on the rondelle, even move backwards on the rondelle, or get to do bonus actions, or all kinds of stuff. One other thing, if I had been able to build the size 5, I would have had to get a few more blues, or some wilds, which means I could have built this 5. If I had built this one, and slid it in instead, you will notice it also says, oh, put a structure on it. And so we've got all these structures. Whee! And so when I slid it in, I could have put this structure anywhere on it. And at the end of the game, this is going to score me bonus points if it's in a completed row and a completed column. 1 point if it's in a row, 3 points if it's in a completed row and column. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get this all filled up, filling in these spaces as fast as you can so you can unlock all the powers. Plus, there's a bonus mode, it's optional, where you start with these little luminaries on the outskirts, and players are racing to be the first to build roads so that all 4 of these luminaries can visit each other and score bonus points as well. That's the game. It's going to go until this deck runs out. It's very fast and really satisfying. Also, if on a later turn I do another purple and say I slide in this way, if you get matching colors next to each other, you get a reward of drawing an extra card. So you've got more cards in hand for the future. And so every turn you're either drafting more cards, snagging them really fast, or using them to build, but always with this very cool 4-directional Tetris slide, which I love. And that's Helsinki. Like I said, Jen and I, we just played it the other day. We played it twice in epic time. It's a very fast game. We found it really a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to get this filmed by the weekend, and I'm not quite sure when it's going to go live. I have to figure that out. Anyway, so that's unboxing number 1. That's what happens when I unbox games I already know how to play. I spend less time on the components, which is what an unboxing is supposed to be, and more on the gameplay itself. Alrighty, bye-bye. Everybody gone. Let's see. So that was fast. Let's do another one. What was the next one? Oh, you folks wanted wormholes, right? Oh, I should say, by the way, There's an expansion. Of course, Queen always loves the expansions. This is full of multicolored Tetris pieces, so that you can match multiple colors at once when they slide in. And, so it's basically just a bunch more. Adds a lot more complexity to the game, or, with the planning. Next up, your second choice was Wormhole. I'm afraid I cannot go into detail about the gameplay here, but let's at least set the stage. Wormholes. As the captain of a passenger spaceship with a wormhole fabricator, you can become the best in the business by building a robust network of wormholes. Link the farthest reaches of space while delivering passengers. Boy, this is in there tight. Okay. While delivering passengers, become the most successful captain in this golden age of spacefaring. Use nebulas, wild wormholes, black holes to navigate the galaxy. It changes every time you play. Whoever earns the most points by connecting planets and delivering passengers wins. So I guess this is pick up and deliver. And I have to admit, I'm rarely, in fact, a fan of pick up and deliver, but fast pick up and deliver, teleporting pick up and deliver, which I assume the existence of wormholes implies, that I could get behind that. So, whole bunch of punch-outable pieces, very colorful, don't know what any of them are. Apparently, every time you play, you're going to have a randomly generated galaxy. I do not know what the rules are for putting these together. They are two-sided, though, and they seem to have lots of things on them. So we start to make a very, and I love it when space is colorful in board games. Publishers, stop making black, boring, inky space. Give us a little bit of color. Look at this. This looks lovely, I have to say. And then there's more stuff. Again, I don't know what any of these are. We got a bunch of pieces. Whee! Okay. Oh, are these wood? These are not stickers. So I guess we call them silkscreen. They have a kind of shine to them. And I think they're plastic. Yeah, they're plastic. Look like little miniature poker chips. They're not as heavy as poker chips, but they kind of feel like poker chips without quite the same weight. These must be our little ships that were flying around. And there's a whole bunch of these. I assume these must be the wormholes. Considering the fact that they are numbered, I expect you're probably trying to create straights. Maybe a link of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can just instantly get around really quick. I don't know. But hey, here's some cards. Hey, here's a turn structure. What does that say? Alrighty. On your turn, your free actions. Warp through a wormhole, place a wormhole token, drop off a passenger. Once per turn, pick up a new passenger when adjacent to a planet or space station. And, but the main thing is spend energy to move one space. So apparently we're moving, but then using free actions to zip around really quick, picking up passengers, probably dropping them. Yeah, once per turn you can pick one up, but you can do multiple free actions. So I'm sure you're trying to make a network and then navigate it at most efficiency. 2 points per passenger delivered, 1 point per opponent's use of your wormholes. I like that. I like a little bit of brass action. 1 or 3 points for each exploration token you got, and 3 points for each different planet beyond the 5 you delivered to. And hey, here's what's on the map. Wild wormholes, nebula, things in orbit of other things, photon cannons, move any number of spaces in a straight line, ignoring obstacles, and black holes. All right, so you got all that, and then we've got some cards, which I don't know what these cards do. They seem to be a bunch of pictures of planets with alien symbols and letters and numbers. Who knows what it might be? I don't know, but I'm excited because Tiny Towns was awesome. Deedly doodly doodly doo doo doo. Okay, there you go, folks. There was a second one. Can't really talk about it too much if I don't know anything about it. Let's just slide all this back into the box. And let's do Leviathan Wilds, because I'm really excited about that one. And I'm glad it didn't come out at the bottom. I'm doing 3. Let's do Leviathan Wilds. Check with the audience. Who in the audience has played Shadow of Colossus on the original PlayStation? Such an amazing game. Oops, sorry. There's a plastic bag over there. Well, that's what this is in board game form. Cooperative play. Let's see. My prototype box. No, it doesn't have anything on the back. Everything's prototype here. Prototype rule book. Not everything is complete yet. The gameplay itself is really very simple and streamlined. This almost, in terms of depth of gameplay and complexity, this is kind of like a good next step for Forbidden Island. Matt Leacock's ultimate gateway co-op game. If you have people in your life who love Forbidden Island and they're ready for something with a little bit more going on, this is what you're looking for. So my prototype came with 4 different playable characters: Fix, Hazard, Mystic, and Kestrel. And we are all climbers, professional climbers, who are going to be spending the game climbing all over the wild leviathans. Here's a map saying where all we're going to go and deal with the leviathans, but we're not going to fight them. We're going to save them. Because the leviathans have been driven wild because, where are they? They've got these binding crystals that have fused to their skin. Like here we've got a gigantic tortoise that we will literally, and here's a player meeple, and here's another one. So we start out on the ground floor, and we start moving from node to node to node, working our way up, and sometimes saying, gliding our way down to get to other places, or doing big jumps and whatnot. This is the intro one. It's pretty straightforward. Let me get a little bit closer. Don't be shy. So you can see a little bit more detail, and you can see all these different nodes. This is a place that if I move through this space, I'll take damage. If I move through this space, I'll lose my grip. What does that mean, you ask? Well, everybody has a unique deck of cards. Some of your cards are tied to your character, and some are tied to the job you've given yourself, whether you're a healer or a fighter or whatever. Let's just say this is my deck of cards. At any given time, I've got 3 cards in hand. Oops. With some placeholder art. Let's have someone without placeholder art. There we go. Like shatter. Boom. So on your turn, what you're going to do is you are going to play one of these cards to get this many action points. 3, 4, 5 in this case. And protection. This would protect me from the damage spaces. This would protect me from the blight. And this one won't protect me from anything, and it only lets me move 3. So I probably don't want to play that one. Let's see. Where's the player board? Say I'm Fix, right? So what I do is I've got my 3 cards. I've got my draw pile over here. I've got my discard pile over there. If I've worked my way through the, the campaign, I might have earned a memento of previous adventures that is a power that I can use at various times. But I'm going to pick one of these. Let's say I want to do a lot. I'm going to get 5, and I'm protected from moving through danger spots. And let's say we're not trying to rescue the turtle, the gigantic tortoise. Let's say we're trying to rescue this big bad boy, where you start out at the bottom and you can see, if I start off this leg, I can jump over to the arm and then jump back over. Or let's say it's a big lightning worm that we're trying to deal with. Or the big, golem-y type thing in the frozen tundra. Let's say this is the one I'm trying to go. And let's say I happen to be right over here. And so I've got 5 action points. I can spend those action points climbing, jumping, gliding, resting to get my cards back. Because once I've gone through all my cards, if I've used everything, I lose my grip. And wherever I am, I fall, maybe all the way back down to the ground and lose a lot of progress. But if I'm over here, I fall down to a platform and but I never get these cards back. I have to stop and rest and spend action points to get the deck back. So hand management is a big deal. In fact, actually, at the beginning of every round, you always fill your hand back up to 3. And you might, on a given turn, say, have played, I've played 2 cards, I played this, and now I should draw 3. If I draw this last card, I'm going to lose my grip and fall and take damage and all that. So what I can do is I don't have to draw the last card. I can leave it here. So it's like I'm desperately holding on. But then that means next turn, I've only got 1 card to play, which is this one, which will give me 3 action points. So what do I do with these action points? Well, I can just move around, orthogonally. And in this case, this is a nice one because I wouldn't take any damage and I wouldn't lose any grip. Losing grip means taking a card from your draw pile and discarding it, which again could make you fall. But we are trying to move around to, let's see, there's one over here that has 4 these binding crystals, and where is one? There's one over here that has 4. And so at the beginning of the game, you set these up. They're all over the place. These are the crystals that we have to destroy to save the monster so it can get control of itself and stop rampaging. So we're here to save these creatures, not kill them. I love that. So I've got 3 action points. Well, and I'm not in any danger, so I just might go 1, 2, 3, fine. But here's the deal. Using all of this meant I lost my climb ability. Any climber that's lower than me could climb 1 step for free. So these cards are all multi-use. Every turn, you're going to pick one to give you some action points and some protection. And while you're doing that, you can play any of your other cards for their lower ability. And these lower abilities are often super powerful. Like this Dino one. This one is a way to move without spending action points. And it says, okay, yeah, basically, if I were down here and I discard my Dino, it says, hey, just jump up and over one. And now I could spend one action point to come back down, and then I could spend the rest of my action points fighting off this crystal that's binding the creature. And so that would be a way you could start doing combos and stuff. And the different characters, I mean, there's a healer who can heal everybody and all kinds of stuff. There's these things usually, if you're close to your teammates, you can give them abilities, if not yourself, all kinds of stuff. And it's a race against time because this is the progress meter of the rage. The more times we go through the bad guys deck, the greater and greater the rage is until it's just hitting us super hard. What is the bad guys deck? It's in here amongst all these cards somewhere. Or actually, there's a whole bunch of them. There's actually a campaign, chapters 1, 2, 3. My prototype has 5 chapters. Let's see, is this the one for, this is the one called Frost. So this is the deck for them. Their board stays over here. This is their draw pile. There might be special setup rules, and every turn they are going to draw a card, and it says, oh, if we haven't hit rage level 1 yet, if he isn't a big threat yet, we'll deal with this. Otherwise, we'll deal with this. Take 2 targets, take Frost instead of just 1 target taking Frost. So when these come up, immediately the player, wherever they are the center of this attack. And so you have a little bit of time to get to safety. These are all the spaces that might get hit or get hit harder over here. So what you have to do is, this won't resolve until after you've used, so I get over here, I want to do this, but then I got to spend a few more action points to get away. Or if I'm really worried about this and I can't afford the Frost, a free action you can do is let go. And so I might do a bunch of stuff, get this done, and then I have no action points, I'm about to get hit, and I let go, woo, and fall all the way back down. But now I avoided this big hit, but now I've got to start climbing again. But that's okay, because I've got, let's see if I've got a card that lets me do super high wall jumps if I'm not highest up on the board. Or lets me levitate so I can make big diagonal moves. Or I can vault and make really big sideways moves. And you can combo all this stuff together. And let's see, I didn't show you the last boss. Is actually the coolest. It's like this, scary octopus thing. And we have this extra card that it blinks. Its eye starts out closed, but it can open up. And it can see us. And then it can go back to sleep and stuff like that. So that's Leviathan Wilds. It is very neat. It has got to be one of the most atmospheric and, what would you call it? What's the word? Thematic games. Because, when you're down to 1 card and you do not want to do it, because if you fall, you'll take a lot of damage depending on where you are. You're like, I'll leave that there. And then on my next turn, I've only got 1 card to play. Quick, can somebody else heal me? Because if I take 1 more point damage, I'm going to die. And once you're out, and the other players have to finish for you. Really fun stuff. So, hey, did you enjoy the unboxing? Plus bonus information, folks. Hopefully you felt that you voted wisely. I will now put this away because we have been going for about a half an hour. And I will look at the chat in a second and see how everybody's doing. And then I will start recording the monthly podcast. Phew. Whew, and I'm exhausted already. Out of the way, you. Okay. Oh, one more thing, by the way, folks. I know I said last week that we would do the contest to give away first rat. But I was thinking about it. I don't have to. I could wait until the next RtR, which is on the 28th, and give more people an opportunity to win. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in last week's episode of the RtR show, there's a secret word you can find and enter to win a copy of the latest game from Pegasus Spiel, which is very, very cool. And I talked about it last week. So I said I was going to do the drawing this week. I don't think so. I don't want to do a drawing without Ruel here. So we're going to wait until the 28th. I went back and checked, and I did not announce a date in the actual show when I was going to do the giveaway. So we are not doing the giveaway today. Because inevitably, every time we do the giveaway, even though I tell people, look, you only have until this date to do it, days later, I'm still getting more entries from people who just missed it. So why not give people more time to enter to win first rat? Oh, have you all run screaming for the hills because I've been ignoring you? Let's take a looky look. Oh, let's go on ahead and bring up my chat monitory thing, which I should have had up this whole time. And, Hope everybody's doing okay. Hopefully that was of some interest, as I don't really think there's that much info about Helsinki or Leviathan Wilds, but I should be covering both of them in the coming weeks for crowdfunding previews. Righty, so go to my dashboard. Let's open up the chat. All right, Kadishaw says very interesting. Well, then one person was entertained, and my job is done. Righty. Oh yeah, Kabuki is the star-catching queen. Nobody can beat her in catching the floating stars, which is why she permanently has the award for stars flying out of her head goblin. I know Andrew is always trying really hard to catch up. I feel like I should just reset that every once in a while to give other people a chance to catch up with her. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through, seeing what's going on. Oh, what's this? Board Game Geek says 2 to 4, but the website says 1 to 4. Which game? Is that for Helsinki? Or is that for Leviathan Wilds? I'm not sure. I mean, Leviathan Wilds, I can tell you, it is a co-op game, and it does have solo rules where you actually have 2 characters, but if I recall correctly, I think you combine their deck into one, that kind of trick. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Let's see here. Berserk mode off. This is hard reading things backwards. I should just go back a certain ways and then just look through. I have to admit, I'm never really big for looking through all the chat because it's just so overwhelming. But let's see here. People were giving much love to AEG. Dead Reckoning, which is also a good Diamond Head song. I will take your word for it. I am not hip enough for that. Alrighty. Suck for sci-fi games. Looks like you folks were talking about what to vote for. Ooh, Shadow of Colossus and Board Game Board. That seems neat, says Brenner. Well, you let me know, Brenner. Was it neat? All right, okay, yeah, so you folks were all voting, and I'll just get past all of that. Collector Camel. Looks like a Queen game. That is inadequate. I mean, if you know what a Queen game looks like, they have been very, very consistent for the last 10 years. They'll go, we're in our lane, we know what we do, and we do it very well, and if you don't like it, we have a lot of fans. So, yeah. I mean, they have a clean, stark elegance, let's say. But yeah, they are certainly not finger on the pulse in terms of really cool, exciting looks. They are not approaching Vincent Dutray to do anything at this point. All right, so my goodness, you folks have been talking quite a bit. Oh, and then there was some slinging going on, trying to catch stars, and a goblin got the star. Alrighty. Oh, apparently there's a big fight for winning stars, and yeah. Oh, quad-directional Tetris. Yes, Fem Sensei. I mean, we were really impressed. The only thing, I feel like we played it once, and the only thing I was surprised how fast it was. Our first game, we finished in 20 minutes. And I've got prototype rules. So I am waiting to hear back from the publisher if we got something wrong, or if it is literally supposed to be that fast. It was 20 solid minutes of interesting decisions from start to finish. We were like, it was kind of one of those, I feel like I'm just getting started. Is the game really over now? Shouldn't we get like 5 more rounds or something? So I'm waiting to find out about that before I film. But we really enjoyed it. The quad Tetris thing was really great. There's another game that I recently covered that had that same idea. Oh, it was where depending on where your character was on this rondelle, that determined how you interacted with the board. Oh, it was Founders of Teotihuacan did the same kind of trick, and it was brilliant there, and it's really sharp here in Helsinki as well. Let's see here. Fem Sensei loves polyomino games, but they need I mean, worried about gimmicks because there's so many of them. Well, Fem Sensei, I will be covering it, so hopefully you'll get a better idea. Like I said, I just have to know, is it a filler weight game, or did I miss something? And somebody was happy about Wormhole. And, all right, okay. Oh boy, this is gonna take forever. Alrighty. Leviathan Wilds. Okay, yeah. I like I said, I can already confirm, Goblin, that my prototype came with rules. I haven't read them yet. I'll probably demo it solo. Probably. Because it is pretty much a 2-player game. It's just where you have one deck of cards shared, if I recall correctly. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But Jen and I definitely enjoyed it. But like I said, it is definitely on the lighter side, which is why I kind of equate it to a great... I mean, if anybody's played Forbidden Islands, it is like the simplest of pared-back, pandemic-style cooperative experience. This has more going on than that, especially when you get to the later monsters, like that one whose eye actually opens and closes. But the first few are really simple, and so we had to play a later one to really get a feel for the game to really start pushing us. Righty. Okay, cool. I think we are caught up. And so, folks, I'm going to do what I came here to do, which was not open a bunch of boxes for your entertainment, but record my portion of the monthly Rahdo Talks Through podcast, which every month people send questions to questions@rahdo.com. I collate them all, I answer them all in one big epic session, and then I post it on podcast feeds or on YouTube. And I do the second half of the show with Jen. So Jen will show up and answer a few game questions, but more about personal life stuff or, non-game related stuff. She's not here for that today. I'm just recording the first half of the podcast, which is just this is all about games and about the Rahdo Runs Through channel. So that's what I'm going to record today. And interestingly, I'm doing this kind of a week earlier than I should. Normally, I like to get 4 weeks worth of questions, but I'm doing this after 3 weeks of recording the last one, if I recall correctly. So I don't have as many questions, which is where you folks come in. While I'm doing the podcast, please, if you can think of any game-related questions, put them in the chat, but start them with a question mark. Start with a question mark, because that means after I'm done, I'll have a queue of all the questions you asked. And if you have any good ones that would be good for the podcast, I will then continue recording the podcast and answer your questions as well. And by the way, you can, since I have not recorded Jen's half of the show yet, if you have questions for her, ask the questions. Start them with a question mark, and I'll save them to ask her on the podcast when she and I record the other half tomorrow. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me demonstrate. Question mark. Where's Jen? You'll notice how I started that in the comment fields with a question mark. That means that just went into my queue of questions. It's not a particularly good question. It's not one I would bother answering because I actually just talked about it, but you get the idea. So let's see here. Let me just check if there's anything in the queue right now. Okay, we've got a few, including the Where's Jen I just asked. And cool. Now, I think some of these are left over from the last week when we did the RtR show. But again, folks, if you have any, and if you don't, there's no pressure. It just means we'll get to Ruel that much quicker because, did I mention? I think I did right up front. This is the RtR show. Rahdo, then Ruel. After we're done at 2, we are going to raid Ruel, and he's going to be playing Canopy. He will be sitting literally in the wings, chatting with folks, waiting for the raid, and then the game will start up. And believe me, that game is so freaking gorgeous. You have to check it out. So it will definitely be worth sticking around. Okay, so let me see if I'm missing anything else before I get going with the show. Okay, it looks like we had a couple of comments from last week's. I'll just, for prosperity, Brenner's like, yes! Shadowrun Crossfire, when he was excited to see it show up in the top 10 of all time. Spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Yep, yes, Brenner. One of the greatest games of all time. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and I was actually looking through the chat from last week's show last night, and it was very cool. While Ruel and I were doing our top 10, you folks were all coming up with your own top 10s. I think, Nazgoth got it kicked off with that one, and, that was really cool to see. I really very much enjoyed that, too. So, by all means, if me answering these questions prompts you to talk amongst yourselves about anything, nothing makes me happier. Okay. So, I am queued up, ready to go. I'm going to hit the F12, which means, that up there means, while I'm actually recording, it's like I'm in a sound studio, or I'm up on stage and I'm not really doing anything with the audience anymore. So, as that is saying up there, that is a reminder saying, hey, if you have any questions, start them with a question mark, and when I'm not live recording, I'll turn it back off, and then we'll do some more back and forth live stuff before we throw to Ruel at 2 o'clock. Right. Sounds good. Okay. Hey. Before we go, I see Bing was Johnny on the spot wondering if they should sticker. Yes, Bing, that would have been a great hey listen. Folks, if anything goes wrong while I'm recording, I won't be watching the chat, so I won't know. But you can get me by clicking the hey listen sticker, which means I'm like, oh, crap, something's wrong. I can look over at the chat and see what it is. A hey listen sticker accompanied by somebody using their channel points to highlight their chat makes it very easy for me to adjust midstream and just keep recording but fix whatever you've noticed is wrong. So yeah, and you were thinking about stickering me now, would have been totally cool, because you're right, I was completely about to forget that before we record a show, we have to enter Battle Royale specifically. So let's do this thing. So recall, we have a few new battlers. All these avatars are anybody who subscribes to the show or spends enough channel points to get a temporary avatar or backs it on Patreon. You can get them that way too. And let's fight! Okay, Kabuki Kid is easy to spot with her little stars, and she goes for a quick backstab of Dutch Rocker, and nobody's touched her. Oh, Keith and Kabuki throw down. It's a battle for the ages, but then they let bygones be bygones and go their own way. I gotta switch over to Keith. Keith is at 2/3. He is right in the middle of a deep, deep scrum, and he's doing pretty well for a first timer, down to half life, fighting much more experienced people. But oh, Keith, you're surrounded by green meeple, wah, and but you run for it. You make a run and fight Bing, and then Bing finishes Keith. Keith, it's really great to have you here, man. Even if you did just get wiped out. What's going on now? Kabuki Kid is about to be taken down by Cherish Manor, but no! Kabuki Kid lives! The Kabuki Kid, the first ever winner of a Battle Royale, but Green Meeple Wah just picked up a health pack, and I think Fidelia finishes Kabuki and gets a health back as well. We are down. Meeple, Avatar v Avatar. Oh, but Green Meeple gets lucky and grabs another health pack. You better run, Fidelia 73. It does not look good for you. Your penguin beak will not stop Green Meeple's cookie mouth. Oh, but a backstab! You've turned it around! Maybe there is a chance! Run, Fidelia, run! Get that health back! Don't fight! Discretion is better for valor. Is Green Meeple getting the health back? No. Green Meeple doesn't need it. Green Meeple says, finish him! And Green Meeple does. Okay. So, congratulations, Green Meeple Wah. If I recall, this is, you just subscribed for the first time. So, your first day on the show, and you cleaned everybody's clock. Nicely done. Alrighty, so that was all good fun. And you just won 100 coins, which you can use to customize yourself, buy hats, change your avatar color, capes, all kinds of fun stuff. And, okay. Phew. Let's see. Oh, I see you over there, AG Fox 586 with your Snake Plissken mask and all of that. It did not save you though, did it? No, it did not. Let's see here. It was a good fight though. Everybody get some stars before we get going. So, new folks, if you type in !jump, you will jump. And if you catch those, you will get more stars for customization. Although, of course, people who know the trick with the sling are able to grab them really quick. So, all right, that was fun too. Who just picked up it seems like a half a dozen in one slingshot? That sling is very powerful. I don't know about that. Okay, but anyway, right, we are ready to get on with a really, really big show. So, let's get to it. Nothing to it but to do it. One more quick drink of water. Let me make sure. All right, so I've got the Word. Wrong one. I've got the Word document. All right, okay, I don't need you. I need that in the foreground, and I need that in the foreground, and I need that in the foreground. Okay, cool. So I've got the browser I can go to if I need it as I just go through these questions. It looks like everything is set up, ready to go. So remember, once again, folks, if something goes wrong, use the hey, listen thing and highlight your comment so I know what it is. And what's the other thing? Oh, right. Questions, start them with a question mark, and we'll see if we've got some good ones to get a longer podcast. This is going to be, I think, one of the shorter podcasts if you folks don't step up. And remember, ask questions for Gen 2. I'll save them for her tomorrow. Game questions or non-game questions. I'm afraid I'm just about to get the hiccups, which is not a good way to start. Let's see here. Hey, what's going on? I see Kabuki says the audio dropped for half a second. That was my fault. You notice when I was changing stuff, I went to a tab that has no sound. That was totally me, not a problem. I'll do it again on purpose this time. See, you can't hear me, can you? You sure can't. Oh no, you can. I must have hit a different one. Or maybe I didn't. Anyway, hardly matters. Hopefully that... Here's the thing. I'm streaming to you folks live, but at the same time I'm streaming with the same program, I'm recording locally as well. And the recording doesn't have all the stream avatars and the progress meters and the events and all of that. That's what ends up going up on YouTube. So I've always got that recording as a fallback. Sometimes there's been screw ups. Like, actually, the last two live streams on Twitch, halfway through, the live stream stopped and it started a second one. I don't know why that happened. To fix it, I went and bought myself, thank you Andrew for the suggestion, a little $20 Cat 5 hub, so that I actually now have my computer physically plugged into my router, which is on the other side of the house, because I ran some very long, high quality Cat 5 cable. And so hopefully I won't be having dropouts like that anymore. I said I wasn't responding to you, and yet here I am still responding to you. Okay. Green Meeple, normally not a fighter. Oh, Green Meeple, apparently you should be fighting more often. You do very well. Although, don't get me wrong, it was totally random, the outcome of that. It's just a bunch of silly stuff, just for fun. Okay, should you see my mouse right now? Here it is. Oh, yeah. Do you? Yeah, I don't hide it. I because when I'm doing this, I highlight stuff. It's totally fine. I could turn off the recording of it, but more motion and more life, I just think is better. Okay, I think we're ready. Right. One more thing, just for fun. I haven't done it for a while. Let's see. Will that work? There we go. Just a whole bunch of explosions, just for fun, since there's some new people and some new avatars. Don't worry, folks. It's raining bombs. Hallelujah. Will end very shortly. But I really need to associate a sound effect with this, because it's all very fun and silly. And apologies for anybody who's listening to this in podcast form. Basically, I just dropped 1,000 bombs on everybody, and everybody went flying. Dogs and cats living together. Good stuff. All right. Okay, cool. Now we are ready to begin the show. So. Oh, and by the way, I have not really spent any time looking at these questions other than just copying and pasting them out of emails. Because remember, questions go to questions@rahdo.com. Without your questions, I got nothing, folks. So these questions, for the most part, are kind of fairly new to me. I just like to be spontaneous and just catch things in the moment. So we'll see how things go. Oops, and I just pushed that button. Shouldn't have pushed that. Nope, sure shouldn't have. Coming back. There we go. One last sip. Okay. Okay, everybody, you had questions. I've got answers. It is time to go through all of your game-related queries that you have sent in to questions@rahdo.com. Starting with Dave. These are in alphabetical order, by the way. In my final thoughts on Fire and Stone, Dave noted that I talked about a BGG complaint about randomness. I argued that the problem that some players of the game reported on BoardGameGeek was primarily as a result of players strategizing incorrectly and was not really an issue with the design of that game. So that got Dave thinking, are there any games that I've seen over the years that I think are truly underrated, not because they failed to garner attention, but because the majority of players didn't understand how to properly engage? I'm sure, yeah, that happens all the time. One of the things that drives me absolutely bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S, bananas, is publishers' reticence to actually help the player out with notes, hints from the designer, a section in the back, basic strategy tips. Because, publishers don't want to do it because of this old school attitude of, no, players have to discover the game for themselves. We don't want to spoil any of the intricate journey of discovery they can go on. But what will often happen, publishers, when you do this is players will think, oh, well, this is a piece of garbage, because they don't appreciate those subtle depths you put in there. And then they'll play half a game and say, meh, pass, walk away. And that's on you, publishers. And I've seen it happen a lot. Let's bring up the browser and let's go to ranked.rahdo.com, which is my, it's my collection, sorted by how I rank games. Let me just go ahead and look at these. Let me make them bigger. Right off the bat, Shadowrun Crossfire is a poster child for this. Every time I talk about Shadowrun Crossfire, which is a very, very cool, cooperative, absolutely brutal deck building game, it's widely known as one of the hardest to beat co-op games in the market. Maybe even more so than Ghost Stories for old timers. And the thing is, Jen and I, we win 50% of the time. But that's because we have learned those subtle strategic strategies that you need to win, because the game really, bucks standard gameplay tropes. To win at this game, you have to kind of unlearn everything you've learned about playing a cooperative combat game and come at things from a new angle. I actually even did a strategy. I've done strategy guide videos on this. I talked about this recently in the R&R, and because the publishers didn't give their player base any of that leg up, like warning them about, hey, healing is a trap. Don't go healing. Velocity is everything. I mean, you're more often better not attacking the monsters in front of you, but the monsters in front of your teammates. There are so many things that just fly in the face of just what just what you have come to understand is the typical way to play a game, that it makes people believe Shadowrun Crossfire is impossible to beat, and it's not. The developers of Shadowrun Crossfire, who of course know all the strategies, they literally win 80 to 90% of the time. And so that means it's skill, it's not luck. But Shadowrun Crossfire hugely suffered for this. One of the best co-op games of the last decade kind of curled up and died because everybody thought it was impossible to beat, because the publisher said, oh, let's keep secret all those winning strategies. And, it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, I mean, that's a really good example. There's probably other ones as well. You know what I should be looking at is times. Okay, I'm going to go to a different place on Board Game Geek, aren't I? I'm going to go into my profile, and then I'm going to go into my stats, and then I'm going to go into largest disparity in rating. Things that I rate high that Board Game, and look here, Shadowrun Crossfire is a game that the Board Game Geek rates a 6.5 and I rate a 9.8. And I believe it has nothing to do with the quality of the game, and it's from this problem that Dave has identified. Guild of Merchant Explorers is brand new, so that one doesn't count. But we got to look at older ones. Let's see, older games that have been around a while. I mean, geez, Peloponnese I think is amazing, but it gets a 6.4. Does that suffer from that, though? Peloponnese is a genuinely crushing game that requires perfect play. You can, in Peloponnese, really accidentally ruin yourself with the one or two bad choices, and the game is over for you, and it's round 2. So, and it's another game that, there's no warning about that. There's no warning about, hey, when you're bidding on a tile, here's the things you need to bear in mind. Because if you bid wrong, you will destroy yourself and just go deeper and deeper down a hole. And I'm not saying that. I mean, Peloponnese had a very, very small print run from a very small independent developer. I mean, it has found an audience over the years, but still, it ranks, below the average. I mean, a good game on Board Game Geek is high 6s, low 7s, because of the way, that's when you have a really solid game. And so Board Game Geek rates Peloponnese down. Is it because, I've seen Tom Vassell complain about how the game is too harsh and unforgiving. Is it just personal preference? Maybe. Is it because the game didn't do a good enough job preparing its players? Could be. If I were writing the rulebook for Peloponnese, you better believe I would have at the back of the rulebook, hey, here's some strategy tips. If you'd like to discover these for yourself, don't read. If you'd like to go on that voyage of discovery. But if you want to do well in your first game and not be demoralized, read these things. They will save you a lot of heartache. So, publishers need to do this more, and I'm constantly baffled when they don't. But anyway, so there's a couple, Dave, but there's a lot. It is not at all an uncommon thing. Then, let's move on to Donna, who was wondering, is my merch, Rahdo merch, still available? Haven't heard me mention it for a while, says Donna. That's true. I do have merch. Actually, I have 2 different online merch T-shirt and other things stores set up now. One is Teespring, and the other one is, I can't remember now. The one I'd set up earlier. I don't remember what they are. These are, things where major brands just say, hey, give us some bitmaps you can have. So I'd set them up a long time ago. I set another one up more recently. I have to admit, I feel bad about saying, buy my stuff. Wear my picture or my logo on your chest or on your backpack or whatever. I always feel a little silly trying to push it. So it's there. Like if you're watching this live on Twitch, scroll down. There's a link for the merch store. And also, I don't really make a big deal out of this. If you subscribe on Twitch, or if you back the show on Patreon, or now if you're a member on YouTube, I just turned that on the other day. I haven't actually told anybody, but you can now become a member on YouTube. One of the benefits you get is 20% off all the merch. You just have to contact me. I will give you a special code that will give you 20% off anything you want. I really need to revamp it. The fact that I've got 2 separate merch stores that look completely different, I have to coalesce all that into one. I do have to make a bigger deal of the fact that you can get 20% off. And I'm always a bit hesitant to go on into full salesman mode, you know? But it is out there. Alrighty, anyway though, Donna continues. In January, Donna wanted to buy a shirt. And when you got to checkout, or looking at my checkout, there was a message to the effect of the store would feel free to share info with other entities. That's not good at all. Donna, if you hear this, please let me know. I will look into this myself. Like I said, I've got 2 different stores. I don't like that. That is not cool. Did you have an option to opt out? I'm assuming you didn't. Anyway though, so you went on and bought a Thinker Themer t-shirt several months prior, and you think from the same web store, as have I. You'll notice I'm rocking Thinker Themer for Pride Month. Plus, they are the newest contributor to the channel, and they're just the most awesome people in the universe. Amy and Maggie are great. But anyway, so apparently Donna agrees because she bought a Thinker Themer shirt. Didn't notice that message, but for weeks afterwards got junk and spam mails. That's interesting. I did not. I bought this shirt myself, and I don't remember getting any kind of uptick. But maybe, I do get spam already. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if I got spam just because I created these stores. Who knows? Anyway, though, that's why you didn't go through the purchase of the Rahdo shirt. Anyway, I'd still like to get a Rahdo shirt, but we reserve the right to share your email with other entities for the purpose of solicitation. Gives you pause, and it should. Donna, all I can say at this point is thank you for bringing this up. Tell you what, Donna, you watch somewhere the podcast or listen to it. When you hear this, could you make a note to yourself to send another question to questions@rahdo.com saying, hey, Rahdo, did you look into this? And because I am now giving myself a task, I need to get my merch house in order in time for your next question next month, Donna, when you say, hey, do you have a place that won't sell my info? Because, yeah, that is not cool. I definitely need to look into that. Again, thank you, Donna, for bringing it to my attention. Okay. Ben. That Ben comes before D. But I think, yes, I know. I remember Ben's full name. And, yes. So, all right. I don't even have to focus on the alphabeticalness. It doesn't matter. Let's continue with Ben. Ben was super excited to see that games.rahdo.com is back. Yes, it is. Thank you so very much. Gerald, not Gerard. I believe I got that right. Thank you very much for designer of Banker of the Gods. Folks, if you don't know what Ben is talking about, let me show you. You can go to games.rahdo.com anytime you want on any browser, and that will take you to a breakdown of all of my collection sorted by my rankings. So if you ever want to know what my number, oh, I went too far. All right, go scroll back up. Well, my number 350, the Great Heartland Hauling Company is number 353 in my personal collection. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know more about it, click this little button right here and you can watch my run through. That's the real purpose of this. This is actually a list of pretty much every game that I have covered in some form or the other. All 1,500 of them, I guess. But it's sorted by how I've ranked them. So at the top of the list, you get my videos, but you also get my rankings. Or you can click on the name and go directly to the game in question if you'd like to know more about it. So, yes, game's back. Although, Ben, did you know that while this was being made, another one was being made? I'm going to announce it for the first time ever. If you go to top.rahdo.com, you go to the same list in a different format where it's broken down by year. Here's my top games of 2022. Here's my top games of 2020. Same thing, and it's just awesome. It's very, very cool. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, here's how the last decade or so ranks. Currently, based on my top 10 games of the year, 2019 is the greatest game ever for board games based on the rankings I gave to the 10 best games of 2019. And 2020 is the next best. 2016 after that. Now, 2022, this year, is lagging because, of course, I've only played a dozen games, and the best is yet to come. So you can expect at top.rahdo.com to watch 2022 climb. Will it climb to the top? Will it beat 2021? Who knows? But this is just fun. Top.rahdo.com. I am so happy with it. Thank you again. I'm pretty sure it was Gerald. I'm pretty sure it was Gerald, not Gerard. But again, more importantly, if you want to say thanks to the person who made all this available, just go to Banker of Gods, which is a game that he is developing. I've been watching it for years, and try to learn a little bit more about it. Find out more. Get notified of its upcoming Kickstarter launch. Give him a little love because he did all this work for free. Because my games.rahdo.com site went down, he stepped up, did the coding, had to learn how to wrangle the BGG database to its knees, and then he went above and beyond by creating top.rahdo.com and all kinds of stuff. It's fantastic. Anyway, though, I'm sorry. That is getting way off topic. Anyway, so Ben was looking while listening to the RtR podcast and went looking for Peloponnese card game since we were discussing regular Peloponnese because you're curious, did it make the top 100? It looks like it's no longer ranked. Then Ben went to gone.rahdo.com. Hey, go ahead and make that an actual link. Not that it matters. This doesn't matter at all. Why am I doing this? Just because I'm kind of obsessive. Gone.rahdo.com, but didn't see it there. I can't imagine you got rid of it because of space issues. No, that's true. I still kept Peloponnese card game. It's fantastic. So Ben's question is, would there be any way to link unrated games to from the gone.rahdo.com list and maybe indicate which games are unranked because you don't have a final copy? Because that's often the case. Often, you've seen me watch a video, you wonder how did I rank it, and I haven't ranked it yet because I've only played a prototype or something like that. Or because I got rid of the game and I get rid of the ranking. Right. And so you're wondering, hey, because I've already had all this work done, could we do something? Well, the thing is, this is all driven by the Geek List on Rahdo, or the Rahdo runs through Geek List on Board Game Geek, which again, I mean, what is that? Let's see. Did he make a link directly to the Geek List? No, he didn't. But if we go over to, let's come back to the browser one more time. Going back to Board Game Geek, for folks who don't know, boy, it occurs to me, I should really make a shortcut to my Super Geek List. The RRT Geek List. How many items are there? There are 1,796 games listed on this Geek List, which is what all the games that I and now others have covered over the last decade. And so he is pulling from this list because this is as close as you can get to a master list of every game I've covered. And then also at the same time pulling from my ratings, doing jiggery pokery and putting it all together. Which is why if you go back to the list itself, gone.rahdo.com, you will find that, it's only the top 300 games. The ones that I've actually kept that I have rankings. Oops, I just went to Gone. I meant to go to games.rahdo.com. It's only those top games that have rankings. Because that's, and then, once you get past that and you get to the other, 1,400 games that are listed here. Is that really 1,400 games? Geez, it doesn't seem like it, but I assume it is. They don't have rankings because I haven't ranked them. Because I didn't keep the game, because I didn't like the game, because I've played only a prototype. There's a number of reasons. So here, you are wondering then, I'm sorry, I'm just setting the stage for everybody else, because obviously Ben knows his way around this. Link unranked games to the gone.rahdo list and maybe indicate which games are unranked because you don't have a final copy. That is interesting. So what you're saying is that he would also pull from gone.rahdo.com and maybe put an asterisk next to it that says, oh, Rahdo got rid of it, and you can click here to read why he got rid of it. That is an interesting idea. Honestly, I think he should be able to do that. But the thing is, I do not want to ask him to do that. He has already done so much for me. Like I showed you that other list, the top, and all of that. If he ever comes to me and says, hey, do you want anything more? I think that's a fantastic idea, Ben, and I think he probably could pull that data and just put a little bit more. Because I think if you look closely, is this right? Yeah, if you look closely, at first he just had the names, but then he went back and he put the dates on them as well so he could make top. So I know he could expand on this. I just don't want to take advantage of his kindness. But it's a great suggestion. And, if he ever volunteers, I will definitely talk to him about it because I think that's fantastic. But anyway, bonus question, Ben ends with, what about Peloponnese card game? What's the deal? It has to be, says Ben, one of the best space/cost values in gaming. I completely agree with that. Here's the deal. Let's go back to Board Game Geek one more time. Back to Board Game Geek. There is, right, okay, no, that's actually where I need to go. I need to go to ranked.rahdo.com, but then I don't think I've actually made a shortcut for this either. So I need to filter from not board games I own, but board games I have not pre-owned or previously owned, but games I have pre-ordered. And show me that list. And this is a list of every expansion I've got, like Aeon's End stuff, or every full game that I consider to be an expansion. Like the pandemic offshoots, or the original version of Project Elite, because I've now got the new version of Project Elite, or Codenames Duet, which to me is 90% Codenames with just a tiny little twist. That honestly, the original Codenames is better than Codename Duet, and so I don't want my list of 300 some games to list a bunch of repeats saying, well, hey, here's Peloponnese at number 7, and here's Peloponnese the card game at number 7.5. To me, that's kind of meaningless. So I classify a lot of games like this that are considered full games. I consider them the expansions, and I'm assuming that Peloponnese, Pelo, is on this list. Yep, there it is. Now, here's the problem. I might be doing it a disservice that you have pointed this out, because Peloponnese the card game is not just, has it changed the game enough to stand on its own in the list? And honestly, I don't know that it has, because again, the auction is the same. The way you manipulate resources, how you store resources is really the fundamental thing that changed. Is that enough for me to actually list it separately on the list? I don't know that it is, and that's why I own it. And if I were to rate it, I'd probably rate it a little bit lower than Peloponnese, because Peloponnese rating being so high is in part because it's got so many expansions, and Peloponnese card game does not. But it would rate super duper high because it's almost as good as Peloponnese. In some ways, it's better. Here's the deal: if I ever get around to playing, I've got Peloponnese the expansion for it. What's it called? The card game expansion. I can't think of the name of it. I've got that. If I ever get a chance to play it, I will reevaluate this and see if Peloponnese does deserve to be called out. Is Glenmore on this list? No. Glenmore 2, I feel, changed Glenmore enough to warrant being on the list separately. So my main list has Glenmore and Glenmore 2. I don't know that Peloponnese changed the core DNA of the game as much as Glenmore did. I don't know. It's a sticky subject. I'm not even saying I'm particularly consistent about it, but that's kind of the thinking. And, what is the status? The status is it's great. I really need to play the expansion. And Peloponnese is one of the best, and Peloponnese card games is, I 100% agree, Ben, one of the best space to cost values in gaming by far. Okay, let's move on to Jake, who notes that I've covered, or asks, have I covered Caper Europe by Keymaster in any of my rundowns or playthroughs? It's a fantastic two-player game that Jake thinks Jen and I would really like. Came out in March of this year. No, I haven't. I don't know why. I honestly can't even visualize the game. And if somebody tells me about a game and they ask, well, why haven't you played this? Why haven't you covered that? If I can't even think of it, chances are it's a 3-player minimum game. And that means, I saw a 3-player and I just completely ignored it. Or I was able to look at it and dismiss it out of hand because of something. Caper Europe is I kind of feel like, is it a deduction game? I think it is. Once again, folks, back to the browser. Let's go to Caper Europe. Let's take a looky-loo. Alrighty. I don't have it on my wish list. And it is a tug-of-war area majority influence game. I saw that and said, here's the deal, Jake. Every game that I come across on Board Game Geek, I am looking for any reason I can to say, that's probably not for me. Because there's literally hundreds of new games that get added to the database every month, and I need to have shortcuts to not have to spend an hour evaluating every single game on the off chance we might like it. So I am certain I took a look at this and looked at the mechanisms that says, it's a tug of war. Jen and I are not interested in that at all. It's an area majority influence game. Definitely not interested. And so I said, okay, remove that from my brain. Do not need it anymore. And I'm sorry. And you know what? I could be totally wrong. I could be. Maybe it's absolutely fantastic. If Keymaster, the publisher, were ever to contact me and say, hey, we'd really love for you to cover the game, then I would definitely go and read the rulebook and find out if my gut response was right or wrong. And this is not, heck, it's doing really, it's got an 8.1, although that just means it doesn't have, that means it does not have enough voters yet, right? No, of course not. Because overall it's number 1296 in board game. Yeah, so it's doing really well. I trust you, it's really great. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm making a mistake and it would have been perfect for me and Jen. But you say tug of war, you say area control, area majority, and I'm like, I've got 50 other games out there that I know I'm going to love. I don't want to take a chance on one that Jen might not like. So that's the dealio with Caper Europe. Okay, hey Lance. Lance is curious if I've heard of the Spiel Foundation. I believe the Spiel is one of the OG classic board game podcasts, is it not? Going back almost as long as Tom Vassell, maybe even longer. And if I recall correctly, I think one of them is in Portland, so it isn't even very far away from me. And apparently, yes, and you're right. I remember, every year they would do charity drives, and I'm assuming they still do. I have to admit, I stopped really following board game podcasts a couple of years ago. I do not have any board game podcasts. I used to have Dice Tower. And I used to, no pun included, Ethka and John of John Gets Games used to do a podcast together that I really enjoyed. I used to listen to Shut Up and Sit Down. I used to listen to a bunch, but there's just no time. So I've ultimately unsubscribed. I only follow 2 podcasts now, the Ezra Klein Show and Forward. Those are the only 2 I actually subscribe to, and then occasionally I'll listen to a single episode of other ones. So basically much more politics and real-world issue-focused podcast listening. So anyway, long story short, I feel like I've heard about it, but I'm just so far removed from board game podcast world, even though that's literally what I'm doing right now. Irony of ironies. But anyway, let's continue from Lance. They're a group that is always at board game conventions where you pay to play a party game for their charity that sends board games to hospitals, kids clubs, etc. That's fantastic. That is wonderful. And I'm pretty sure these are the guys that walk around in those meeple blazers, right? I'm pretty sure. I know I've met them years ago at Essen Spiel. And it's driving me nuts. I don't remember their name. But anyway, Lance continues. They're also on Amazon Smile. So if you want something board game related to support through Amazon Smile, they might be the only thing. So this was obviously a thinly veiled ad for a very good cause. And Lance, I salute you. Folks, if you're listening to my podcast, you must like listening to Board Games Podcast. Can I suggest pointing your podcast's listening device towards the Spiel? A couple of OGs, and my gosh, this is so amazing. The next time you are going to go to a Board Game Geek, the one in November or the one in spring, if you're there, maybe you want to sit down and join in and play a couple party games to put literal smiles on kids' faces and adults' faces who are stuck in hospitals. That's amazing. That is beautiful. I so respect them for doing this. And finally, if you're on Amazon Prime, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, folks, or actually, you don't even have to. If you ever buy anything from Amazon, this is just in general. Sorry, skipping away from board games. Folks, if you ever buy anything on Amazon, do not go to Amazon.com. Go to smile.amazon.com. Because if you buy via that means, a portion of the proceeds from that sale will go to a charity that you can choose. Jen and I, we have raised by now, I would imagine hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the last 5 years towards a particular dog kennel charity that Jen really, really likes. And just buying the stuff we were going to buy anyway. And apparently, this is amazing. If you want to get board games in the hands of people who need them the most, who need that boost, if you're going to buy something from Amazon.com, go to smile.amazon.com and adjust it so that tiny fraction of the sale will go to the Spiel Foundation. That's amazing. I love it. And Lance, thank you for bringing it up to everybody. Okay, let's move on. Paul works at Spielebox in Vienna, Austria. We're a board game library where customers can rent board games for up to 28 days. And since we're funded by the city of Vienna, it only costs 10 cents a day to play. We have more than 8,000 different board games. We're definitely the biggest board game library in Austria when it comes to number of different games rental. We're pretty sure we're the biggest board game rental in Europe. Are we though? Maybe even the world? Continues Paul. My question is there a chance for a quick shout out to all the listeners if they know of any board game rental with more than 8,000 different games? Okay, Paul, I think this is another, like the previous one, Lance and Paul decided, but I don't mind. Hey, these are both cool things. That's just amazing. I am definitely, Paul, if I ever get back to Vienna, have we been to Vienna? No, we have never been to Vienna. And so someday I will get to Vienna, Paul, and I will visit Spielbox, and I will pay 10 cents to play a game from your library of 8,000. That is amazing. But in the meantime, anybody listening to this, if you know of something that beats Spielbox, send it to questions@rahdo.com, and I'll mention it in a subsequent episode of the podcast. Wow, that is amazing, though. My freaking hats off to Austria. I guess it's the city of Vienna. It's funded by Vienna. So it's not an Austrian, it's not a federal level program, it's a city level program. Still, that is amazing. Oh man, that is great. Okay, from Samuel. I just saw a thread, says Samuel, on Reddit talking about how I, Rahdo, left the site because, quote, people were mean to you, end quote. And Sam was wondering what my side of the story is, if I don't mind sharing. I've definitely, continues Sam, seen some bad posters on Reddit, but overall, Sam thinks the moderators do a good job of keeping things on track. Maybe I might want to come back. Sam cajoles me to come back. It is true. I used to post regularly on Reddit. I never posted my videos because there's all those weird rules. But yeah, I used to subscribe. I used to go to Reddit once a day and check the, board game thread of the day and all that. And often you can get some really good, cutting edge, right up to the, often you will find out about stuff in the board game industry on the Reddit board game thread or forum faster than you will anywhere on Board Game Geek. And so I was always very impressed by it. And, so I've never really talked about it, but my side of the story is, because here's the deal, folks. I still have a Reddit account. I do still go there every once in a while, but not very often anymore. And I don't think I'd ever go back in an official capacity because while it's great, it's a wonderful resource. So many, and you are entirely right. This happened years ago when Reddit's Board Game Geek or Board Game Forum was a cesspit of negativity. It was just horrible. And I left. Tom Vassell left, some other people left because it's just nonstop, wall-to-wall people grousing about how terrible things are and just never having a good, positive, upbeat thing to say. Because that's what it is. People were not mean to me. I did not leave because my feelings were hurt. Basically, if I recall correctly, it was a game that I had covered. And I went on Reddit because, it was Clank in Space. When Clank in Space got released, it was a really big deal because Clank was already a big hit. Clank in Space was, changing, and I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I did a video for it. And then I went on and saw what people were talking about. And everybody was ripping it apart. Everybody was just being dicks for dick's sake. What happened to if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all? What happened to don't yikes my yum, or don't mellow my harsh, or whatever? It's people just going on there for the sole purpose of saying, you're wrong. This is garbage. I don't care if you liked it. I don't care if you actually played it. It's crap. It doesn't deserve to exist. Eric Martin just did a really great editorial video about this the other day. People who just get online for no other reason than to just say, I disagree with the existence of this game. And Reddit was awash with that. And foolish me, in my mission to civilize, I thought I could wade in and say, look, I've actually played the game, and I'm a positive, upbeat individual. Let me try to turn that frown upside down and explain to you what you're missing about why it's so cool. And it was just endless wave upon wave upon wave of, again, nobody being rude to me at all. Maybe there were some dicks, make no mistake. But for the most part, it was just wave upon wave upon, nah, it's still garbage. Nah, I'm just here to hate board games. That is the only reason I come here, is just to... what is the yikes yum thing? I don't remember what it is. But anyway, you know what I mean. And I'm in the middle of this. And I'm in the middle of like 3 or 4 or 5 different response threads where I'm trying, look, you don't understand. Here's what this game is. Here's why it's exciting. This is what is new and different. And just trying to be positive. Trying to be upbeat. Trying to be excited and freaking happy to play board games. It's getting to me. It's starting to come back to me. And I realized halfway through this, what am I doing? Why am I here? What am I accomplishing? These people came on here for the sole intent purpose to be angry. No amount of positivity is going to change their attitude. No amount of direct hands-on knowledge is going to change their attitude. They are just here because this is fun for them. And I realized I am making myself, nobody else was making me miserable. I was making myself miserable. And I realized, I got to get out of here. This is bad for me. I am a positive, upbeat guy, and I am very, very sensitive to negativity. I just have no use for it. What is the point of being negative? if you want to be negative about something, just say, oh, let's forget about that and be positive about something else. Look at me. I'm being negative about something. I'm being negative about Rahdo. But anyway, so what happened is I had like these 4 or 5 threads that were going back and forth, and I had this epiphany. And so I just said, because I have had this long-standing thing that I treat, interactions online as if they're real. A real person is there in front of me. And so one thing I wouldn't do, if I were talking to you in real life, I wouldn't just just turn around and walk away in the middle of a conversation. I would at least say, okay, thanks. It was nice talking to you, bye. Right? I would at least do that. And that's what I did. In those 5 or 6 little sub-threads, I just wanted to get the heck out. The clouds part, I realized I will be so much happier if I'm just not here. I need to get away as fast as I can. So for all these, I just said, okay, bye. Because I realized I was beating my head against a wall for nothing. These people were never going to meet me halfway and try to see anything positive. All they wanted to do was bash and say, oh, this is just a cheap cash grab. All that standard negativity. So I just said, okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. I did like 4 or 5 times. And as I understand it, that is now one of the biggest recurring memes on board game Reddit now. The people say, okay, bye, as a reference to the fact that Rahdo took his ball and went home because he was a petulant child. When me, from my perspective, I was just acknowledging, hey, you know what? I don't want to talk about this anymore. So I'm just going to say, okay, bye. We're done talking. I'm just going to say goodbye. And then I went elsewhere and I posted it, hey, everybody, I think I'm leaving the site because there's just too much negativity. Everybody ignored that, of course, and everybody misinterpreted it to say, oh, Rahdo had his feelings hurt. I did not. At no point did I ever have my feelings hurt. Instead, I had just had it up way past here with just endless, needless negativity. I just didn't need it in my life. And so I am much happier having never gone back. Now, I made a huge mistake. Because I had recently done the same thing with another forum. I was on an invite-only board game developer forum, or not, video game developer forum, because of course I was a video game designer for 20 years. And so I was in this other one. It's called the Chaos Engine. You have to have an invite to get in. You have to prove you're a member of the industry. And I had just recently left that one permanently as well, because it was starting to become a really, I was like, geez Louise, if you people keep complaining about Anna Sarkeesian, I am done. I can't be a positive person here anymore. You're all so negative and so grousy. I'm leaving. And to force myself not to come back, because I was kind of addicted to that site. We can get addicted to things that are bad for us, right? I deleted my account on the way out. So I literally couldn't get back in, right? Because it's an invite-only thing. And so I was like, hey, I did that for Chaos Engine. I could do this for Reddit too. And so I said goodbye. I deleted my account so I wouldn't come back. And here's the thing I didn't realize. It was a huge mistake, and I do regret it. That meant every post I'd ever made, and I'd made hundreds and hundreds of posts to Reddit in many, many threads, suddenly became listed as, I forget, user deleted their account. And that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. And I assume people didn't realize that I didn't know that was going to happen. I thought it would still say, Rahdo Runthrough said this thing. I didn't realize that it was going to look like it did. And if I known I wouldn't have done that, I would have just changed the password and then turned it into a random bunch of gobbledygook so I couldn't log anymore. That's what I should have done instead of delete it. So that made it look worse than what it was. But to this day, people are still saying, okay, bye, because it's a reference to what a jerk Rahdo is, because he can't hang with the cool kids, I guess. I don't know. But I can say, Samuel, to your point, yes. At some point after that, the moderators on the Reddit Board Game Geek forum got much more hands-on with trying to tamp down the more negative elements of the board. It's still there, but much less so than it used to be. So could I come back? Yes. Am I going to? No. Because I just don't have time. There's just not enough time in the day. I mean, let me show you why. Let me go back over to the browser one more time. We're still on Board Game Geek, right? Can you see up there at the top of the screen? I have 1,500 unread notes or comments, threads to catch up on. I have a lifetime worth of stuff to read on Board Game Geek as it is. And if I don't have my finger on the pulse quite as much as I used to, I'm okay with that. Because Board Game Geek tries very, very hard to be a positive and upbeat place. And so that's just a better fit for me. So that is what happened there. Thank you, Sam. For letting me set the record straight. If there's anybody who listens to this is on Reddit, you can point them to this episode to maybe But it's fine. I mean, the fact that Board Game Geek, or not, that Reddit Board Games has a subreddit devoted to, hey, here's us being toxic assholes, because it's funny. I mean, that just shows the underlying, the certain people are attracted to Reddit. They don't have they do not find that they are as welcome on Board Game Geek, and so I'll just stick with Board Game Geek. It's fine. But I'm glad you're enjoying Reddit. I mean, again, it's a great resource. Okay, let's move on. TJ was wondering if TJ could see statistics on how everyone. Wondering if I, Rahdo, can see statistics on how everyone votes for the games that I cover every month. TJ figures that I probably can't see or do not want to see what everybody votes for, but can I see if there are people who vote, oh my God, yes, on everything, or no on everything? TJ asked because it took TJ 6 months to a year. It took quite a while for TJ to realize that if he voted, oh my God, yes, on everything, he negated his vote. It is true. You were, you kind of canceled yourself out. I was wondering if I could tell you if there was anybody else who used to make this mistake. I don't know. I'm sure you're not alone, TJ. I'm sure you're not alone. And once again, let's go back to the browser for folks who are curious, what is TJ talking about? Because this might be interesting for some folks. I will give you a bit of a tour behind the scenes because, let's see, if you support the show on Patreon, one of the benefits you get, even if you spend only $1 a month in supporting the show, you get to vote every month, folks, on what games I and other members of the team will film in the following month. And you can see here's a list of all the recent, I can't think of the word. Ballots I put out. Every month I put out a new ballot with a bunch of games and people vote on them if they are subscribing. And so for June, Dice Realms came in at number 1 with 3,288 votes. Space Station Phoenix came in at number 2 with 2,590. You will note, I've already covered both of those games because they were the top of the list, so they were going to get covered. Simplicity came in at number 3 with 1937. I have not covered Simplicity, but it would be the next one I would cover. And then Great Western Trail, because I talked about how I could cover the solo. And then all the way down at the bottom, very, very sadly, Nirvana, which is a shame because, oh my gosh, Nirvana is such a really cool roll and write / ladder climbing card game where you literally roll and write to make your own cards to play a ladder climbing game. I do not understand why it's at -184. Anyway, though, every month people get to vote. And if you look a little bit more closely, you can see for each one of the games, it's not just a yes or no. They can vote, oh my God, yes, cool, okay, shrug, or no. And behind the scenes, what that means is if you are voting, oh my God, yes, that is 5 votes. If you vote no, that is -5 votes. And if I recall correctly, shrug is 0, okay is 1 vote, cool is 3 votes, and oh my God, yes is 5 votes. Because I don't actually have 3,000 people backing me on Patreon. Oh my gosh, I wish I did. But with the multipliers and all of that, because that's why the vote numbers are so high. And it's a way for people to say if they're really excited about something or not. And here's the thing: if you go in here and say, "Oh my God, yes" to every single thing, then every single thing gets +5 points. And so you didn't really vote for anything. So here's the deal. Let me just show you, TJ. I can't see anything. I can create a new one. I give it a name. There's 2 types. It could be selection-based, which is more of a traditional thing, but the level of interest is more fun. I can copy a previous one, which is what I do every month. I get the previous one, I delete things people had chosen, and then I add new things that are available to cover. And then I upload the emails because I have all these emails from people. I use these emails for nothing. Unlike whatever merch store that Donna was talking about, these emails only exist so that I can email you your ballot. You go to a special page, which looks pretty much like this, and then you can vote. And interestingly, you can change your vote. After you've made your vote, if you're like, I think I like this one more, you can actually go and change it. You can rearrange it. Or if you look, what I cared about isn't even important, but the 2 that are really close, I'm going to go and vote for that one because I didn't care about either of those, but I want that one more than the other one. So it's a really flexible system. I'm really, really keen on it. Thank you again to the developer who programmed it all for me all those years ago. It's still working to this day. My legs hurt. I hope your legs don't hurt as much. That's the name of, or not, I won't say the real, Jeff. Thank you so much. I'm still using it to this day. As you know, it works so great. So anyway, I have no idea. I have one problem with this. Occasionally, when I put a new thing in, I notice I made a mistake. And I do not have a way to edit these. And I've never wanted to pester him and ask him for more functionality. But there have been some times where I've made such a huge mistake. I'm like, okay, I really need to update this text because I literally am misleading the voters. And he says, okay, here's what you do. And he writes me this incredibly long Byzantine thing about my SQL queries and all kinds of stuff I've got to do. And so, in theory, if I went and I looked through all that stuff, I could probably get all the information, but I do not have any desire to become an SQL programmer. Is that right? MySQL, SQL, I forget. Something like that. So yeah, if I asked, he'd probably let me have it, but I've never felt the need to use it. So I'm afraid I cannot answer your question, but I'm fairly confident, TJ, you're not alone. Okay. And that's it. We're going to move on shortly to Jen's gaming questions, because I got a few from Daniel. But before we get to that, folks, I'm streaming this live here on June 14th, 2022. There is an audience of people who have been listening to me this far, and I'm going to pause for a second and see if they've got any questions they'd like to throw into the queue. And if not, we'll move on to Jen's stuff in just a minute. So let's see what we shall see. Put the marker. And hey, everybody, I'm back. You know it. So, how are you doing? Everything going okay? I never heard anybody say, hey, listen, so I guess we didn't have any technical issues. That's good. Okay, so what do we have here? All righty. Let me find my question database. Oh, my. Yes, I've got quite a few here. I will take a quick look at these and see if I like any of them. All right, okay. That was good. Did you realize you were offline? Oh, okay, I'm going to do this one right now. Fideli asks, did I realize that I was offline for a bit? Folks, could you answer this question right now? Did I go offline for a brief moment during this stream? If so, I apologize. And that means that is 3 streams in a row that this has happened. And I actually went out and bought new hardware to make sure I was not, because the thing is, up till now, my computer is on a Wi-Fi network. The router is on the far other side of the house, and it's always been a little iffy. So I thought maybe in the previous 2 weeks, that's why I was losing connection. But now, I am literally hardwired. So I couldn't have lost connection. So if it happened again, it must have been something else. Now, okay, but here's the thing. I love this system, but one thing it doesn't do is tell me this might have been a comment that came in the other day. So I'm assuming, okay, because I'm looking and it says, and Kabuki Kid, I think you're right. I did not, it must have been from the previous one, which means, I need to go to the bottom of the list. I forgot. New questions are at the bottom of the list, not the top of the list. Let's go, right. What would you do? Right, sure. What point would you move negative or score again? Right. At what point do you remove negative or? Oh, that's a good one. I know you're an atheist. As a faction, you have a favorite god or religion. No, that's not a game-related one. That one can go in the right. What are you looking for on the screen right now? What are you looking at? Us. Okay, let's do this one right now because it's not going to be interesting for people listening. So the question is, what am I looking at? Us on the screen right now. Let me show you. Let me pull back the curtain, folks. Should this one go on the podcast? Because, this is just for you, because you're here live. Where is it? I need to go. I think I have Windows recording right. I'm looking at 2 monitors. There's this monitor and this monitor. This is my right monitor. This is my command center. You can see I've got the chat over here, just the same chat as you, including Keith Collins is the biggest gift giver. And as you can see, I have infinite Rahdo points down here, which I could request stuff with. Can I request stuff of myself? Apparently I can. Yes, I can. All right. I had never tried that before. Interesting. So, with my infinite points. This is Streamlabs OBS, is what you're looking at now. Can you see me? Anywhere. No, because you're... All right, so you don't see me for a little bit, but that's okay. I use Streamlabs OBS instead of regular OBS because Streamlabs OBS has the function of being able to stream and record at the same time, and I can specify elements that will appear in the recording but not the stream or vice versa. So all of the... hey, wait, where are they? Where are the... Hold on, come back. Hold on. There they are. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, I don't really use that right screen thing because everything went away. The thingies went away. Let's come back. Let's fix this. All right. So I'm here in Windows Recording Right, which is really just for my own edification. Wait, alerts are here. Right. Is that the scene? Yeah, that's the scene. Huh. Oh, here we go. It's just underneath. There we go. Boom, there you are. There you all are. Okay, but actually maybe so you can actually see more of the screen, I should make you hide all for a second. It was just, okay, you can see over here, this is the sources. On this screen, I've got the alert scene, which is the stream avatars, the progress meters, all of that. Below that is video capture right monitor, green screen master scene in case I need to. Oh, okay, that green screen master needs to be at the top in case I need to do any green screen stuff. Obviously, I don't really use this scene very much. I don't really show my right screen very often. And then there's the face cam. Hey, let's bring the face cam to the top too, so you can still see me. Why are you not seeing it? That's weird. Let's look at this. Yeah, it's there. Oh, there it is. It's down there. Woo! I was just expecting it to be up here. All right. So, hey, I'm back again. Let me just put this right here. Right, there we go. So, what do I have to play with? I've got all the sources in a given scene. I've got all these different scenes over here. The main ones I've been using today are my scene called Podcast Word and Podcast Browser. They're both pretty much the same, except one has a Word window and the other one has a browser window on top. And then, and normally I'm in Talking Head. So I've got Talking Head. I've also got Talking Head zoomed in if I ever need to use that for any reason. And then there's Overhead for unboxings, and there's all my junk just off camera that nobody ever gets to see. Coming back over. So this is, you can see I've just got a bunch of different scenes set up that I can go back and forth between. This window shows me if I need to adjust anything in a given scene, like you just saw me doing, turning elements on and off and all of that. Let me put that behind the alert. Boop, there we go. Let's see. Here are the events. So I need to be better at looking this, because this is where I can spot, hey, has anybody given me bits? So I can say thank you, because you're literally giving me money. Of course I would. Would you not say thank you if somebody gave you money in real life? So I feel obligated to do that. So this is keeping track of that. Here's the little button I push to note when I have to, where I put an edit. Here's how I can keep track of rewards. This thing comes up. Looks like I've got 3 requests right now. An argument. Did I get rid of that? Oh, I need to rename this because, it's a game sommelier. I've got a game sommelier. It's just that this is the wrong name internally. I'll have to fix that. But anyway, this is where I can keep track of requests I've got from people who spent their channel points. And then some other shortcuts, like this is how I create a poll. I create a poll. I delete the what to box, or not to review the results. I don't need that. Right. Oh, end the poll. Why am I not getting a chance to make a new poll if I want to make a new poll right now? That's very weird. View results, in poll, delete poll. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Normally I can create a poll. So I've got these shortcuts for various twitchy things I do. Here's the chat. If I want to put anything on the screen in the chat, I can just click this, and you'll notice it's an older system, which is what I was using for a while. But Ruel can't use this system because it's local only on my machine, which is why we've switched over to this other system that both Ruel and I can pin stuff from chat on. And then, here's the audio mixer. If I go quiet, if I click hear me, and then you could hear me again. So this is where I keep track of stuff. If here's the soundtrack for stream avatars and various nice things. So this is what I look at most of the time. You will notice I have a very, very tiny window of what I can see. I can't make out the detail of anything. So I've set up another one that I can go to where I can see things much better, which is certainly better. But then I don't have access to all the other stuff. So if I need to look at something, the really big screen, I can come to this one. And by the way, this is also over here, this little window is what I click to spin the wheel. I come over here. Now, where is it? I'm in the wrong, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I can spin the wheel over here. So I've really got those two views that I can go back and forth between. And this is what I'm looking at the whole time. Now let's look at my left window. My left window. See, this would have been terrible in the podcast, people listening to all of this. So there on the left, you can see I've got Word. Here's Word that I've just been going through, and here's the browser. And, I've just mostly been, I've been on this tab looking at stuff. And you can see there's actually more. Oh, dear. No, that's fine. Yeah. It doesn't matter if somebody sees this particular link. Normally, I have my regular browser view. Let me go back to the browser view on my browser tab. Which one is it? It's Podcast Browser. You'll see I've got all the top stuff in my browser off screen. right? Just so you don't see the URLs I'm going to or what other tabs I've got open or what have you. But now we come back here, you're seeing everything, including this is featured chat. This is the list of everything people have asked with a question mark so that I can just go through and try to hit these one at a time. So I've got this on my left window, I've got this on my right window, and all of it combined is what I'm doing to put on the really big show. And that was the wrong one, and there's the right one. Okay, so yeah, I don't think that one would have made sense, but let's see. Right, so I'm just going to try and get ones. I'm going to try. Yeah, what time is it? We have 15 minutes until Ruel goes live. We got 15 minutes more. I do want to get some of yours into the podcast, but I don't want to see. What about the twinkle for Goblin? Oh, that's a question for Goblin. Right, I don't know why you're asking about Twinkle for Goblin. I'm going to leave that one on for Jen and Richard. All right, that's a Jen and Richard one, so I won't worry about that one. For you and Jen, oh, great, that's awesome. Thank you, folks, for saying for me and Jen. I can just ignore those. All right, so, okay, that's a good question. I like that one. That one, I'm just going to say, Holly, no more. You just asked, what do I think about Wayfarers of South Tigris? I don't know anything about it. They didn't contact me to cover it. I would have loved to cover it. I'm very excited. I love Garphill Games. I love it when Sam and Shem get together, but they didn't ask me to cover it, so I'm just going to wait until it goes retail and look at it then. I was really kind of bummed, too, because, of course, they're in New Zealand. Aggie and Amy and Maggie, Thinker Themer, they're in Australia. It was like, hey, they work for the channel now. You could have covered it through them, and you wouldn't have to send it to me across the world. But, not going to worry about it. I'm looking forward to it like everybody else. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. What else have we got here? You know what? I'm going to make this full screen because I don't need to keep... That'll help me a little bit because I'm done going back and forth. All right. Now that you have your own theme, piano, is there something you think you'd ever use in a podcast you wish you did? Oh, that's a cute question. For Jen Richard, for you and Jen, favorite Elder God game from the Cthulhu Mythos? That's a good question. Would you ever consider doing a solo play of Outer Rim? That's a good question. With Agricola, you don't really mention the game before the game. How important? Oh, now this one is... That is an older one. That came up in the top 10 because I was talking about Agricola. So okay, so those are older then. All right, cool. All right, okay, cool. So good questions, folks. You don't have to answer anymore because I'm leaving be. So let's go. I hit the F12 on the wrong thing. I need to be in this. All right, there we go. Okay, all right. So and then mark it. Okay, folks, we've got a few interesting questions. Let's get going. First of all, we've got, where was it? Dr. Professor 123, a very learned and erudite person, I'm sure, asks, would I do a best board game geek features that you shouldn't miss video? That is a great idea. That is something I've thought about doing, a Rahdo runs through Board Game Geek many times over the years. And I've always hesitated to do it because Board Game Geek is always in the process of changing things up and evolving. And I always feel like I should wait until it's done. And as time goes on, it's never going to be done. But let me give you just a couple of things right now. Some things that I love about Board Game Geek, right? Let's go back to the browser, and let's go back to Board Game Geek. Some cool little secrets. Well, okay. Board Game Geek, I think, more than anything else, is a really, really great tool to find games that you might want to buy. That's certainly what brought me to the site in the first place. And at first, I used it very poorly to find information about, to help. It can be an incredibly powerful tool to ensure you always get games you like, or it can lead you down the stray and you end up getting games you hate. So if there's one thing I want to talk about, how do you use Board Game Geek to find games that are perfect for you? There's one thing you have to know, folks. Create your Board Game Geek account, and then go to... let's see. I'm not used to it in this. Right. Where are forums? Go to forums, all forums. Then go to, where is it? Recommendations. This recommendations forum is by far the single most valuable thing here because post a thread, say, hi everybody, I really like game Blip, Blop, and Bloop. And the reason I like them is because of Zippity and Zoppity and Zoo. What do you recommend? And I guarantee you will get 20 to 30 answers, all very good, very well considered within a few days. And you'll have some research to do. And you could then follow up, well, I heard this game has this and that and the other. What do you think? This is a very popular hopping forum where people are always incredibly knowledgeable people who, like me, have played literally thousands of games and study everything. They are just waiting for you to show up. So to ask a question, when I eventually discovered this in my first year of board gaming, I went from just getting crap game after crap game to getting games that we love to this day. So get to the recommendations form on Board Game Geek. But let's say you asked for a recommendation. This is show me, somebody asked a question about games. Best trader game. Jason asked best trader game. And actually, he had questions, and he had people vote. And then, people actually gave him feedback and whatnot. And so maybe Jason says, well, somebody mentions The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31. I hadn't heard of that. That wasn't on my list of ones I was considering. Maybe I should learn a little bit more about it. So, step number 2 about Board Game Geek. When you are interested if you know there's a game you're interested in, you could check to see if there's a run-through by me. By far the best thing you can do, because if you watch my run-through, you'll know what it feels like to play, and hopefully you'll know whether it's a good fit for you. Don't worry about my final thoughts. Whether I like the game or not is immaterial. Whether you enjoyed the run-through, whether it seemed like the gameplay as demonstrated was fun, that's the important thing. But if I don't have a run-through, what should you do? Well, super secret thing about Board Game Geek number 2. Go to the game. There's a lot of stuff. Ignore all of that. Up at the top, there are, for The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31, there are 352 comments. Click on that. And what you will get is people rating it a 10. 106 people have rated it a 10 out of 10. 49 people have rated it a 4 out of 10. By far, the vast majority of people, 397, have rated it an 8 out of 10. Here's what you do. Start reading the people who are so in love with it and can't get enough of it. Read a few of those and see if there's anything that, I like that. That is an interesting thing for me. Then go to the other end, and you can just click down here. Go to the people who are rating it 5s. And make sure you have, do ones that have comments. You have to turn, it'd be nice if it was have comments on by default, but you have to turn on has comments. And now, look at the people who hate this game, who can't stand it and think it's the biggest stinky piece of garbage ever. Read through that and see if anything jumps out at you. Oh, yeah, that's not something I would like, is it? I don't know. Weigh those two things. What do people love about it? What do people hate about it? And then try to discern, well, what do I think? If you still need, then what you can do is you can go back to your thread and say, hey, I looked into this a little bit more, and a lot of people are complaining about this. What do you think about that? That's it, folks. If you follow that simple 1, 2, 3 formula, because remember, I was step number 2, watch my run through if it's there, or that was actually step number 1, you shouldn't ever buy a bad game, or a game that you will not enjoy. Use the hive mind of Board Game Geek. It's incredible. Then there's so many other cool things. Like you saw me earlier, I briefly went into the stats page. There are so many cool statsy things you can do once you have actually started. It is definitely worth taking the time to update your personal collection. Right? Because then it'll give you all these kind of stats about your collection. If you go one step further and actually keep track of how many times you play, it'll give you stats about what you played. And it'll tell you, hey, you haven't played this game in 2 years. Maybe you should give it a go. Because it's the hottest game on Board Game Geek. So you've got all of these things. These are really fun too, if you do a little bit of work. But that's like a Board Game Geek 105. That's like a later class. The most important thing, create your account. Go to the recommendations form, which, by the way, you can always get to. Go to faq.rahdo.com. And question number 5 is on my FAQ, because it's asked so often. I love game. What should I buy? And my answer is, go to the forum for recommendations. And it's a link directly there. Ask the question there. It's all but guaranteed that unless you're a jerk, if you come here with positive, upbeat vibes and a general level of excitement, you'll get better answers here than anywhere else on the internet about the best games to get. So if there was one thing I would say, and then a second thing, that's what I would talk about for Board Game Geek. Excellent question. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Where did it go? Right. I see that Adam, or Gadam Gray, asked, at what point do I remove a negative or zero scored game from the vote? Because this is a follow-up. I showed how the voting works and all that, and people can literally say no. Here's the deal. Every one of those games on that list have been sent to me by publishers. I am not going to get rid of any of them. I have over on a wall in the next room over, usually anywhere from 50 to 80 games waiting for me to cover. And if a publisher contacts me and I say, hey, that sounds really good. Yeah, I'd love to give it a try. I then feel honor bound to cover it in some form on the channel. If a publisher just sends me a game without ever talking to me, I do not feel obligated to do anything. I didn't ask for this. And if it's a game I don't like, boom, it just goes to the Dice Tower West Convention Library, which is what I do with all my games I get rid of. They just go to the library, and hopefully they'll find somebody to love them down there. So if a game gets a 0 or even less, it's not going away. You'll find it there on the next month, and hopefully it'll start getting some votes. But I do use that as I use that monthly vote as a prioritization scheme. The things that kind of show up in the middle, those tend to be the things that my wife Jen and I will play in our monthly exclusive Rahdo RtR. Every month, if you are a member of the show on YouTube, or if you back it on Patreon, or if occasionally, very rarely, once a month, if you subscribe on Twitch, you can watch a full run-through of a game that Jen and I do that will never be public anywhere. Those are for people who actually support the show monetarily. And often, those games will be the ones that aren't going to get enough votes for me to cover. But they're still ones that Jen and I really want to play. And so we'll play them. Some folks get to see them if they're supporters of the show. But then I will end up talking about them in the monthly Rahdo Roundup. Which, by the way, I'm recording live next week on Tuesday, the 21st at Twitch. And then if at that point it's obvious it's never going to get enough votes, the audience just does not want to see this, or they want to see other stuff more, but I have covered it in some form by making it in the roundup, I will then take it off the list. So that's basically that step 2 and 3 and 4 process for me. And there's variations of how that works, but that's the lion's share of how it works. Good question, Adam. Okay. Next up. Where was it? There was another. Oh, there are some for Jen as well. So we'll get to these questions later on. And right, here we go. It was from. Oops, did I just push the wrong one? Yes, I just pushed the wrong one. I pushed the same one again. Let's try this again. Click that button. Click that button. Okay. This sometimes happens with featured.chat, where featured.chat just stops working. And it won't disappear, and it won't come back, and it seems to be that has happened now. Let me refresh the page and see if I can fix that. Now, can I do the new one? There we go. So, we have a new question from Eric FHM. What is my favorite elder god from the Cthulhu mythos? I misread this because it was very tiny. I thought Eric FHM was asking, what is my favorite Cthulhu Mythos board game? I do not care about the Elder Gods themselves. I could care less about any of them. They are of no interest to me whatsoever. I'm sorry, Eric. I will answer the question I thought you were asking. What is my favorite Elder Gods game? I believe, off the top of my head, Arkham Horror, the card game, is fantastic. I could have imagined another world if I weren't doing Rahdo Runs Through. I probably could have gone deep down the rabbit hole and gotten all the expansions for it and kept playing it with Jen and going through campaigns. Because she liked it too, even though she doesn't like scary horror stuff. It's just so well done. But I would have to say probably the best one I've ever played is, what is the title of it? It's from Gray Fox Games. I remember the publisher. It is, and that's going to drive me nuts. I got to go look it up now. Alrighty. So let's go back to that browser one more time. I need to go. Here's another handy thing, folks. You can click on search on the top of any page, but if you click on that and then click on advanced search, you will go to an incredibly powerful tool. I've gone to advanced search. I am doing Gray Fox. Alrighty, Gray Fox Games, thank you. I don't care about expansions, and I could narrow it down to a year. I could narrow it down to the number of players. I could narrow it down to a rating, to how heavy it is. I could really get incredibly specific, but this is going to be good enough. Gray Fox Games, no expansions, and then I'll just sort it by, it's not Champion of Midgard. It's going to be on this list, though, if I'm remembering correctly. Where is it? Oh, I could have. Yeah, there it is. London Dread. London Dread is a phenomenal game. I don't have it anymore because Jen and I actually played through the entire story campaign, and even though it has tons of replay value, I was looking for games that, because I had to move from Malta back to the States, I had to get rid of like a third of my collection. And since we'd already finished the storyline for this, I felt like, what are the chances we're going to play it again? So I didn't keep it. But man, it is so good. You can go watch my run through of it. I believe it's a run through I actually filmed with Jen if you want to see her live playing with me. And it is a Cthulhu-ish type thing set in Victorian England, and it's fantastic. I really like it quite a bit. It's maybe a bit of a stretch because it doesn't really wear its Cthulhu really strongly on its sleeve, but it's there. It's there. Right, so I'll go with that one. Although, I mean, the pandemic one, Call of Cthulhu, I think, that was very good too. I didn't keep it because I like other pandemics better, but it was also very nice. Okay, next up, what have we got? Actually, I think that might have been the last one, because then the other ones were for Jen as well. Yes, I think so. So, folks, we've done it. We've gotten through the game questions and a few bonuses from the live audience. And now, if you hang on, we will be right back with the love of my life, Jen. Mark. Okay. Hey, everybody, we've done it. Okay, those are some good questions. There were some more, but it's 2 o'clock. And you know what that means. It's time to continue the RtR show. First we did Rahdo. Now we're going to do Ruel. He is playing Canopy. And good vibes. You know it. Whoever said that. This is the beginning. Oh, Adam, thank you. Good vibes to you too, sir. This is the beginning. Ruel will be back on the channel live the day after tomorrow. I want to do one more thing. Since you're all here, I want to record a trailer. I've started putting Twitch trailers on, and I do it after I'm done filming, but then that means I don't have all the other stuff on. I'd like to do it. So I'm going to quickly record a trailer, which means we very quickly need to go back to the browser one more time and go to, what is it? It's on GameFound. Yes, it is on GameFound, and it's called Brett Walda. There we go. All right, here we go. Cool. Ruel's going to be playing Brett Walda on Thursday. He's going to be doing a live playthrough. It's already live on GameFound. It's already hit its funding goal very, very quickly. It looks gorgeous, and I just want to record a quick trailer for folks to know they should come. All right, so what day is it going to be? That's the 16th? Yes, 16th at noon. All right. Okay, so just going to put him. Oh, come back here. Start playing this thing. Turn the sound off. Hey, everybody. Next up on... Oh, shoot. I forgot. I got to put the coming soon thingy. Hold on. Let me put the coming soon thingy on. Banner. Coming soon. Save. Did I save it? No, I hit Control A instead of Control S. Control save. Say coming soon. Say coming... Why aren't you saying coming soon? Why is that not working all of a sudden? Because I don't have it on this one. All right. Fine. There it is. Quickly grab, copy this, and put it in this scene. Because I never thought I'd need it on this one, but clearly I do. Paste. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so we got to do this again. All right. Hey everybody, coming soon on the channel this week. I'm very excited. On June 16th at noon Pacific Standard Time, Ruel Gaviola, my partner in crime, is going to be playing Brett Walda live. It's on GameFound right now, and it is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, this is not something you want to miss. If you want to watch Ruel in action doing all kinds of fast-playing, elegant, but deep 4X gameplay in medieval England, you'll want to be here on the 16th of June, 2022 for Ruel's live playthrough of Brett Walda. See you there. Okay, boom. That was good. That was a good trailer, right? Everybody cool with that? Alrighty. Oh, I put the thingy up there! I don't care. That stays. I just don't care. It's fine. Should I do it again? No. It's good enough. Now, let's see if Ruel has very patiently waited Yep, there he is. Okay, we are gonna raid him. He is playing some Canopy again, folks. Even if you don't stick around for the whole thing, definitely go say hey. Let him know. Plus, if you stick around for this raid, you will be earning more Rahdo points that you can use to unlock requests and all kinds of stuff. So we are going to go watch everybody's favorite. The RtR show has begun. The Rahdo portion is over. It is now time for the Ruel portion. So get ready to raid in 3, 2, 1. Raid! Go, 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 go! And hopefully I did that correctly. It looks like I did. I believe I did. Hoo-ha! Let's come over to Twitch and make sure it's actually working. Twitch.tv/Ruel Gaviola. Okay. And there he is.
Welcome, Raiders. I've got the raid helmet
Okay.
on. Thank you, Rahdo, for the raid. Friends, my name's Ruel Gaviola, and normally at this time we would just...
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the questions. I'll see you soon.
Schedule-wise, so
Bye-bye.
Rahdo was doing his podcast